Mr. Speaker, national development must also be coupled with fiscal sustainability, which ensures that the progress we make will not be interrupted or reversed. The government relies on resources derived from the wider economy, and the best way to generate resources or tax revenues is to grow the economy faster and increase the tax base. That means all of you must pay a little bit more tax. Thank you very much. I'm coming to that in a moment.
Order, order.
Mr. Speaker, the NDP targets an annual growth rate of more than 5% a year. This would double the resources available to government in the next 2 decades. The present reality is that growth is more modest. The economic turbulence we experienced in the second half of last year has resulted in a revenue shortfall amounting to 16.3 billion rands potentially. The deficit is now estimated to be 5.2% of GDP as opposed to 4.8% as we thought in October in 2012-13. The growth outlook for the next 3 years has weakened, and government's net debt is now expected to stabilize marginally higher than 40% of GDP, but still at a sustainable level. In the medium-term budget policy statement, we noted that if the economic environment were to deteriorate, government would reassess its revenue and spending plans to secure South Africa's fiscal footing. In the circumstances, our approach involves several elements, which I will outline. Additional measures to control spending, reducing real expenditure growth to an average of 2.3% over the next 3 years, compared to 2.9% that we signaled in October 2012. A reduction in the budget deficit to 3.1% by 2015-16, a level consistent with the stabilization of debt. Steps to reinforce growth, building on the competitiveness enhancement program introduced last year. Initiation of a tax policy review. A review committee will be established, ladies and gentlemen and honorable members, which will be chaired by Judge Dennis Davis. Other names will be added later. A comprehensive review of expenditure, focusing on both spending controls and value for money in government programs and agencies, strengthening the capacity of the state to implement our plans and programs. All of this, honorable members, indicates to you and indeed to the South African public that President Zuma's government and cabinet is capable and does take tough decisions when they're required to be taken. And here's an example of that. Government is committed to remaining within the expenditure ceiling set out in the budget. New policy initiatives over the next 3 years will be financed from savings, efficiency gains, and reprioritization. No extra money. Structural increases in spending require corresponding revenue increases if they are to be financed sustainably. If we succeed in driving growth towards 5% a year, and government revenues doubles in the next 20 years, major infrastructure projects and new policy initiatives such as the National Health Insurance Program and expanded vocational education will be affordable with limited adjustments to tax policy. But if growth continues along the present trajectory, substantial spending commitments would require significant adjustments in revenue and reductions in other areas of spending. In other words, taxes could go up later. On Parliament's request, the National Treasury has prepared a report that considers fiscal sustainability from a long-term perspective. The report is currently being considered within government, after which it will be tabled for Parliament's consideration.